Hello, 6th grade. Here we are, e-learning. This is Mrs. Deffenbaugh. I have created this video to go over your assignment for computers for this week. And if you have any questions on how to do that, hopefully this video tutorial will kind of help you, guide you through your new lesson, which is on making a fairy tale. I know we worked on a party invitation and we are not done with that, but we will continue that assignment when we come back to school because everybody saved it in their shared folder and we can't access that. So this week we are going to start a new Microsoft Word document and it's called Fairy Tale Task. Now probably the first thing that I want everybody to do is on your desktop, we talked about this in class, it might be nice to create a folder that you can save your documents in because you're going to be getting lots of emails and this will be a way to keep everything organized. So right here, as you can see on your desktop, if you just right click and go new folder, and then I would name this either your name or 6 computers, I think is what I'm going to name this file or folder. And click on that. Now, your assignment, and then put it somewhere on your desktop where you can find it. So I'm going to put it right there. Your assignment and instructions have all been sent to you through email and also this video link. So what I want you to do is we're going to go ahead and go into our email, and you should have an email from me which says 6 computers, Microsoft Word Fairy Tale. And you'll notice that here is the assignment right here in your email. Now you can go ahead and just download this, which will come up right here, Microsoft download, and then if I click on it, I should be able to open that assignment. And this is the assignment that we will be working on once it loads here. And keep in mind, remember, you'll always see that enable editing. Just go ahead and click on the enable editing, and so we can go ahead and take a look at this Microsoft Word document. So it says Microsoft Word Fairy Tale Task. It's got all the skills that we're going to be working on today, which is first line indents, drop caps, bullet options, sorting list, headers, page numbers, options, textures, and those kinds of things. And so these are all the instructions that you can see here. You'll have this copy that you can look at. So here's all the instructions, and then it has the sample of what it looks like without any editing done to the assignment, and then the last page is the answer key or the assignment, the kind of document that we are going to be creating. So what I'd like everybody to do, and I'm going to minimize this just a little bit so you can kind of see it a little bit better, maybe make it a little bigger. Let's go ahead and let's save this in our folder. So we're going to go File, Save As, click on Browse. Desktop is where we made that folder, and then you'll see I have one called 6 computers. So I'm going to click on 6 computers. Now I'm not going to change the name of this because these are the instructions, and that's going to help me distinguish between the assignment that I'm creating versus the instructions. So I'm just going to keep this as Microsoft Word 2019 Fairy Tale, and I'm just going to save it in that folder so I have the instructions saved. And so if you go ahead and look in your 6 computer folder that you created or whatever you name that, you'll see that here it is right here. So the first thing that you want to do is we're going to open up this document so that we have it open, which is our instructions. We want to have that available. I'm going to minimize this, and then I'm also going to open up a new Word document because we're going to create this in a new Word document. So I'm going to click on Word, and let's go ahead and save this. I'm going to go File, Save As, 6 computer folder, you can browse, desktop, 6 computer folder, and we're going to save this as last name, first name, Fairy Tale. So mine would say Deffenbaugh, Sarah, Fairy Tale, and I'm going to save it in that folder. And so now you can see right up at the top it says Sarah Deffenbaugh Fairy Tale, so I know I've got it saved here, and this will be what I'm working through when I'm creating this document. So let's talk a little bit about the fairy tale that we are going to be creating. We are going to create, and I will bring up the answer key here so you can see this. We are going to create a fairy tale. which has lots of different elements. Some we've already talked about, some we haven't. And I'll go down here to the example of what we're creating, and I'm just going to kind of read this to you. It says, once upon a time there were 3 little pigs. 2 pigs were devoured by a wolf, and the third was sent to a processing factory and turned into bacon. Then there was a girl walking through the forest in a red hood. She was attacked by wolves. It was very sad. An egg thought it would be a good idea to sit on a wall. It wasn't. A mouse ran up a clock. Nobody cared. An old woman lived in a shoe. How is that even possible? Little Bo Peep is not responsible enough to tend a flock of sheep, and I do not know the Muffin Man. Jack and Jill tried to sue the owner or the hill. They lost. The end. Now this assignment is called A Very Sad Fairy Tale. You notice that there are several different fairy tales in this particular story. It's not very long because it's not about so much the words that we're working with here, but rather the formatting of this document. And then in the end, stories that they referenced. So Hickory Dickory Dock, Humpty Dumpty, Jack and Jill, Little Bo Peep, Little Red Riding Hood, the 3 pigs, and the Muffin Man were all the stories that were referenced in this. Now keep in mind it has to be a sad fairy tale. So you want to think about some of your favorite fairy tales. You know, right now with everybody disinfecting and cleaning, Cinderella kind of comes to mind. Maybe it's other fairy tales like Hansel and Gretel, like I said, the 3 little pigs. So you think about, I would say this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fairy tales in it. Let's say that you have to have 5 fairy tales that you are going to be working with. All right, so we're going to go into the format of this, which is up here in our instructions. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to set the page background to be a parchment texture. So if I go into my document, in the Design tab, as it says in the instructions, we're going to go to Page Background Group. So we're going to go to Design, Page Background, which is here, and then Page Color, which we've done this before, so this shouldn't be too difficult. Now, if you go into Fill Effects, you know, you can change all the different colors, but we want a parchment texture. So you go to Fill Effects, and then you can go into Texture, which is right here. There's Gradient. This is Texture. And parchment means paper, so probably this first one would be a good option, or maybe one of these lighter textures. So you can kind of look at some of these different options here. I think I'm just going to go with that first one that kind of came up, which is papyrus, which means paper. And now I have a paper background. Then it says to set the page border to be a box border. Color equals orange, width equals 1 point. So we're going to go to Page Border, which is still in the Design tab. We're going to click on Page Border. Then it wants us to, the color needs to be orange, and we're going to use this box border, which is right here. Our color needs to be orange. And the width, it said that it wants it to be 1 point, so I'm going to change it to 1 point. Now keep in mind, you can pause this video if you need to and go back to your document as you're working through it. Then click OK. So now you can see I have a very light line that goes around my page. The next thing it wants to do is to select the 3 paragraphs and make the font Constantine size 20. I'm just going to, for right now, you will have to go ahead and create 3 paragraphs. So I'm going to, for right now, for purposes of instruction, I'm just going to go ahead and highlight these 3 paragraphs. I'm going to copy these. You cannot, you have to create your own, by the way, and I'm going to paste it in here. So here is my 3 paragraphs that I'm going to be working with. You want to change this to Constantine size 20. So I am going to go to my Home tab, find Constantine, which is down here. If you happen to not have this particular font on your computer, you could choose a different font, but most people should have that. And then the size needs to be 20, so I'm going to go to 20. Okay, Then we're going to select the text, the end, which I did not put in there, but I will say the end. And I'm going to make that font Constantine size 20, which it is for me right now. And I'm going to center this. So I'm just going to highlight this text right here, and I'm going to center it. So it is centered. Notice this text is not, just the stuff at the end, the word the end. Next thing, we're going to give the 3 paragraphs a first line indent of 0.5. So we're going to put our cursor right here. We're going to go to our Home tab. Then it says Paragraph Group, More Options. So I'm going to go to the Paragraph Group, which is right here. Now notice there's a lot of things here in this Paragraph Group, but if I click on this, which is this little corner right here, that will bring up more options for us to look at. And in the more options, we're going to look at spacing and indents, which is right here, and special indents, which is right here where it says special. You can see this. And then what we want to do, we're going to do first line indent, so first line, and we want it to be 0.5. So we're going to, and then click OK. So you'll notice that this first line indent now has, our first line has 0.5. The next thing we're going to work on is a drop cap, and what a drop cap does is it makes a letter a lot bigger than the other font or that you have in your paragraph. So we're going to select just the O. So I'm just going to highlight this O in Once Upon a Time, and we're going to make it a drop cap. So we're going to click on the Insert tab. We're going to click on the text group, which you'll see over here. Here's the text group. You can see the word text right here. And then there's one called drop cap, which we're going to use. So we're going to click drop cap. And it says dropped drop cap. So we're going to go dropped drop cap. And what a drop cap does is you can see how now this O now takes up 3 lines. If we were to do in margin, it would look a little bit different, but we want to, there are other options too that you can do, like you could probably put it up above, but for this one it wants to be drop cap. And it almost, like you can see, it looks like it's in a text box now. Okay. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to select the text stories reference and lists beneath it and make the font. So now we have all the different, and I'm going to go ahead and paste. Like I said, you'll have to create yours, but I'm going to go ahead and copy this information just from our, notice that there are errors here too. And then I'm going to hit enter a couple times here. I don't want this to be centered. I want this to be over, so I'm going to click on this to get it over. Then I'm going to paste this. Oh, I might have to return it back a little bit so we can fit it all in here. Now, it wants you to select the text stories referenced, which is this, stories referenced, and the list beneath it, and you're going to make the font 14 and constant. So I'm going to go back to that Constantina font that I've been using, which happens to be here, or you can scroll down and find CON here. Size needs to be 14. You'll notice that I don't have it all fitting on one page, but need that to be over there. Oh, and then my the end didn't go center. Now I should be able to get it. Sorry about that. Oh, why is that still doing that? Let me just highlight it to see if I can get it all to work. Okay. And I'm not exactly sure why the end is not centering, but if all else, delete it and try it again. As you can see, I'm having a little bit of an issue because that happens sometimes. I'm going to make sure I'm over here. Okay. And I'm going to paste this. Okay. So I'm going to go back. Sorry about that, guys. I'm going to go back to Constantina font, size 14, and I will make it fit later. So now what we want to do here, since we have our stories that we referenced at the bottom, we're going to convert the list of stories referenced into a bulleted list using star bullets. So I don't want to highlight stories referenced. I just want to highlight the stories themselves. So I'm going to highlight these to here. Okay. And then I'm going to go to Home tab, which I'm in, Paragraph tab, and then you'll find right here, this one right here is the Bullet tab. So if I click on this, and it says that it wants it to star bullets, which would be these right here. So I'm going to click on those and make them star bullets, and so now I have a bulleted list with stars. The next thing you want to do is you want to sort the bulleted list alphabetically in ascending order, meaning from A to Z. So really cool thing that you can do here is if you click on the paragraph group, which is right here, we're in the Home tab, paragraph group, and then there should be this A to Z, which is a sort. So if I click on this, if you look at the names of the, it looks like the first one should be, so you can click on this tab, sort button, ascending text, because that's what we're doing text, and click OK, and now it is sorted alphabetical with Hickory Dickory Dock first and the Muffin Man second. So that's a really cool thing when you use bullets, that you can have them it's easy to put them in alphabetical order. Next thing, we're going to insert a blank header. Now what a header is it's something that doesn't necessarily print on the page, but it's on there. Well, it does print because we can have page numbers and things, but it's kind of separate from the text. And a lot of times we end up adding a header in our Word document. Sometimes we don't know what we've done. So we're going to insert a blank header. So we're going to click on Insert, and then we're going to click on Header, which you'll find in the headers and footers. Okay? And insert a header. So we're just going to click on Header, Insert Header, which is a blank one. And notice how now you can type here. What we want this to say is we want this to say A, capitalized, very, capitalized, sad, capitalized, a very sad fairy tale. Oops. And then we want to center it, so you can just highlight that text and in the Home tab, hit the center button to center. The format for this, they want this to be Calibri 10-point font. So right now you can see that my font is 11, so we're going to change this to 10, which is going to make it quite small. And then it says blue accent 1. So I'm going to go into my font group, which is right here. And let's see here. So font color, which would be here. We're going to go into blue accent 1. So if you look at some of these, if you highlight over these, and you just hover over it, you're going to find words. So we're going to pick that light blue color. But if I hold my mouse over top of that, which it did pop up, but right now it's not, it says blue accent 1. So it's this light blue color. So we're going to change that to blue accent 1. And then we're going to insert a page number at the bottom of this document. So now, notice how I'm in my header. So if you want to get out of that header, click on the insert, let's see, or I'm sorry. So if you click on this, the design tab, then it'll say close header and footer. So you can go ahead and just click on that design tab there. And if you say close header or footer, now it's closed. But you can see now there's a very light blue that says a very sad fairy tale. You can barely read it. That's a header. All right, now we're going to insert a page number. So we're going to go same thing with the insert tab. We're to click on page number. And then with the page number, we want it at the bottom. So we're going to put at the bottom of the page. Now notice there are different ones. Plain number 1, plain number 2, plain number 3. We're going to go with plain number 2, which is right here. So if I click on plain number 2, and then it should just say 1 down at the middle, and it's centered. Okay, same thing here. If you happen to get clicked off of it, you can click on that design tab, close header and footer. And so now you can see there's a light number 1 at the bottom of that page. Now it says to do a spelling and grammar check. So you can go into your review tab, and you can go into the review tab. I'm going to bring this over here so you can see in the review tab, spelling and grammar is right there. A lot of times, you know, when you click on, so that was off the page, but you can click on that spelling and grammar and you can go ahead and make changes. Obviously, Dickory and Doc need to be capitalized. Jill needs to be capitalized. So you can go in and make some of those changes to your fairy tale. Now, and I'm just going to click ignore here, so you will have to go in and make sure you have things spelled correctly. And so if you look at this document, or what we've created, if you look at this document, it looks like an actual page out of a fairy tale. I would allow you, if you wanted to add a clip art or a graphic here, because a lot of times with our fairy tales we have pictures. So if you'd like to add like a graphic, you could go into your Insert tab, Illustrations, Online Picture, and maybe I'm going to do Little Red Riding Hood. And just put like a little image into this. Now, one thing about this, when you add an image, you got to make sure that it is square so that you can work around that image and make it work. And so I've got a few issues here. I need to probably make that a lot smaller. I want it down here in my corner. But like I said, it's not required that you put an image in here. Whoops, come down here. Unless you want to. That's completely up to you. So maybe I'm putting a little image there. Make it just a little bit bigger. Anyway, so that is an option that you could do if you wanted to on your fairy tale. So be creative. Think about 5 of your favorite fairy tales and try to connect them into one sad fairy tale, 3 paragraphs. Okay? Once you get done with this, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go File, Save As, and we're going to save it in our Browse, find our desktop, our 6 computers, and this is what we already have it saved as Sarah Fairy Tale. Oops, sorry, so cancel that because we've already saved it. So we've already saved it. So really the only thing we need to do here is, sorry about that, I forgot that we saved this right at the beginning. I'm going to go back. So really all you need to do is hit that little save icon right here to save it. Then you're going to email that assignment to me. Now, when you email this assignment, you do not want to, you have to close out of it because it will not allow you to send a document if you already have it open. So I'm going to go into my email and I'm going to create a new message. And I am going to email this to my teacher, which is sarah.deffenbaugh at k12.sd.us. Here I am. The subject line, please call it fairy tale. This is like, so when I get the email, I know what kind of an assignment it is. It's called fairy tale. Then we're going to attach. You're going to find an attachment where you're going to go ahead and browse this computer. Find your folder on the desktop, 6 computers. And don't send the Microsoft Word one, send the one that has your name, which is Deffenbaugh Sarah Fairy Tale. I'm going to attach that and I'm going to hit send. And so when you send me an assignment, it's going to look like this in my email. It'll have, this one has my name because obviously I'm the one who sent it, but it will have your name right here, fairy tale, and then if I look at it, I'll be able to open up that Microsoft Word document from that you sent me. I would like these by Friday, if at all possible. And like I said, if you have any questions, you can always email me. Let's have fun with some e-learning. Be creative. Use at least 5 different fairy tales and kind of connect them into one story that has 3 short paragraphs.